Okay, so I'm going to start with finding slope and the y-intercept from a graph. So for the graph, your formula is the rise over the run. I'm going to choose 2 good points on the graph itself. So let's see, that looks like a good point here and all the way up here. Okay, so then once you do that, you need, well, you can start at either point, but I always start at the left point. So from the left point, you need to rise. So if you rise, it's going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up. So that's plus 8 or positive 8. And then you need to run. So if you run to the other point, that would be 3 to the right, so that's a positive 3. Now if you put it together, rise over run, and that equals your slope. It can't be simplified. And if you notice, when I wrote the word rise, I always do that. I spelt it wrong. I put the Y up there. But yeah, rise, if you rise up, you're getting up. Like if I told you to rise from your chair, you're getting up, and the opposite is down. And when you run, unless you're got superpowers, you're going to run to the left or the right, whichever you need to do. Now for the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So I highlighted the y-axis in pink, and then I highlighted the line itself in that grayish color. So where the lines cross each other, that's right here at that spot. If this is my origin, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. So my y-intercept is at the positive 4 on the y-axis, or you might have it written as an ordered pair, which would be 0, 4. Okay, so next example, if we look at this one, all right, let me pick my 2 good points. Well, it actually has the points on there for me, so I'm going to start at the left point, and I'm going to rise to get to the second point. So this time I'll go down 1, 2, 3. So if I went down, that would be a negative 3. And then I'm going to run 1, 2 to the right, so that would give me a positive 2. So my slope M is negative 3 over 2. I will also just let you know that this 3 over negative 2 is the same exact thing, because if you did the slope finding starting at the right point, that would have given you 1, 2, 3 up, so that would have been a positive 3, and then you would have ran to the left, which would have given you a negative 2. So as long as the negative is on one of the two numbers, it's the same slope. And then for the y-intercept, where does the line cross the y-axis? Well, I can't really tell on here, but it's somewhere down here. No worries on that one, you don't need it. So let's just continue on with some other examples. Okay, so if I go to the next one, so let's see my slope. Let me choose 2 good points. I did highlight the line because it blends in. 2 good points. Closer the better, so I don't have to count that far. So right there and there. Okay, so I'm going to rise. Well, I'm not going to rise anything, so that would be a 0. And then I'm going to run 1. And really, you should just be able to look at this kind of line and know that it's a 0 slope, but just in case you're not sure, do the whole formula deal. So I went to the right one. If I do my rise over my run for my slope, rise up, y-axis goes on top, and I didn't rise anything, over 1. If you put that in the calculator, it would tell you that it equals 0. So your slope is 0, it's a flat ground. And then the y-intercept, well, here's where the lines cross the y-axis, here's the origin, it's down at the negative 1, so your y-intercept of B is negative 1, or again, if you wrote it as an ordered pair, 0, negative 1. Okay, and then the last example. So I have this graph. So starting at my slope, if I choose 2 good points, so pick 1 point here, 1 point here, remember closer the better. So starting at my whichever one, so I'm going to rise, I'll go down. So if I went down, it's going to be a negative 1, and I'm not going to run anywhere. So my slope in this one is going to be rise. So I went down 1, and I didn't run anywhere. Now you got to be careful, because when you type this in the calculator, it's going to tell you either error or undeaf, depends on what kind of calculator you have. So this is an undefined slope. Okay? So when it's straight up and down, vertical, that's an undefined slope. When it's horizontal, straight across, that's a 0 slope. And then my y-intercept, well, it doesn't look like those lines cross each other, so there is no y-intercept. Hopefully this helps a little bit. Just remember, rise up, run out. So rise first, spelling it R-Y-S-E on the top. So you know the Y number goes on the top. And then run side to side, the x-axis goes at the bottom.